I pull into the curved, shell-covered driveway of my beach house. The familiar crunch of the tires is the only sound I expect to hear. It's been one of those weeks at the bank. Endless paperwork. Difficult clients arguing over interest rates. My supervisor breathing down my neck about quotas. My shoulders ache from hunching over spreadsheets. My eyes burn from staring at computer screens. But the moment I cross that bridge onto the coast road, I always feel the tension begin to melt away. This drive is my ritual, my salvation. Every Friday, the same route, the same anticipation building in my chest as the ocean comes into view. I picture myself settling into the porch swing with my half-finished mystery novel, a glass of iced tea sweating in the coastal humidity, the rhythmic crash of waves providing the only soundtrack I need. That image has carried me through every frustrating moment this week. But today, something is deeply wrong. 4 unfamiliar cars are crowded into the space where only my Subaru should be. My stomach tightens as I park awkwardly behind a large black SUV, my bumper nearly touching their tinted rear window. My sanctuary. My escape. What are strangers doing here? Stepping out into the salty air, I hear voices. Too many voices. They're coming from my backyard. The gate, which I always keep latched, stands wide open. Through it, I glimpse something impossible. A wedding arch? My pace quickens as I round the corner of the house. The sight that greets me freezes me in my tracks. My carefully tended lawn, my personal sanctuary, has been transformed. It's now a full-blown wedding venue. White folding chairs form neat rows on either side of a central aisle. A massive white tent dominates the far corner. Strangers bustle about, placing floral arrangements on tables and hanging strings of lights from my porch railings. And there, in the center of it all, stands my sister, Serena. She holds a clipboard in her hand, directing a man with a ladder. The twinkle lights need to curve through those branches, she instructs. Her voice carries that special tone of authority she perfected in childhood. Thomas and I want that magical feeling when we have our first dance. I remain rooted to the spot, watching her unnoticed. Serena shifts her attention to a woman arranging white roses in a vase. Those centerpieces need to be higher, she commands. We want drama. And check if the caterer called back about the seafood option. My mind spins in confusion. Caterer? First dance? Thomas is Serena's boyfriend of 8 months. I hadn't even heard about an engagement, let alone a wedding happening at my house. Finally, my paralysis breaks. I step forward. The garden stones cool beneath my feet. Serena's eyes meet mine, and for a split second, I see a flicker of guilt, but it vanishes instantly, replaced by a brilliant, blinding smile. Rain, perfect timing, she calls out, waving me over. She acts as if I'm just another vendor who's arrived to help. We need your input on the seating chart. I struggle to find my voice. Serena, what is all this? Her smile doesn't falter for a second. Oh, didn't Mom tell you? You're just finalizing the wedding details. The ceremony is next Saturday. You're just in time to help with the place settings. My gaze sweeps over my transformed property. My sacred weekend retreat. The home I worked double shifts for 5 years to afford. The down payment alone represented countless declined dinners and budget lunches. You're having your wedding. Here? At my house. The words come out strained, barely a whisper. Just then, a woman in a sleek blazer approaches with her hand extended. You must be the generous sister I've heard so much about. I'm Vanessa, the wedding planner. This venue is absolutely perfect for what Serena and Thomas envisioned. I shake her hand automatically, my mind reeling. Generous sister? Venue? My eyes land on a table covered with elegant, cream-colored envelopes. I pick one up. Inside, the embossed invitation reads, joyfully invite you to celebrate their marriage at the Bennett Beach House. My address is printed below. They even renamed my home. What would you do if you found your family planning a wedding at your house without asking? Keep listening. Rain's response is something you won't want to miss. A memory surfaces, sharp and painful. Standing in this very yard 5 years ago, key in my trembling hand, bursting with pride, my very own piece of paradise. But my mother's voice had cut through my joy. Such a waste for just one person, don't you think? She'd said. Then Serena, champagne already in hand, had added, "This is perfect for family gatherings. I can't wait to bring my friends down for beach weekends." Ever since that day, it has been a steady erosion of my boundaries. My parents bring dinner guests without warning. Serena borrows the place whenever she likes. The spare key I gave Mom for emergencies has somehow multiplied. They come and go as they please, leaving messes for me to clean up, casually disregarding my space. My gentle reminders are always met with the same dismissive phrase: "We're family. No need for formalities." Vanessa's voice pulls me back to the present. "Serena mentioned you were thrilled to host. We've been working on this for months." Months. The word echoes in my head. A lifetime of being the responsible one, the reasonable one, the one who makes sacrifices for family harmony. And this is my reward. For a moment, I imagine myself screaming, tearing down the decorations, demanding everyone leave. Instead, an eerie calm descends over me. "Excuse me," I say quietly, turning back toward my car. "Rain?" Serena calls after me, her voice losing its cheerful edge. "Where are you going?" "We need your help." I keep walking, my keys clutched tightly in my hand. "Rain." Her voice rises, laced with frustration. "Don't be difficult. We have family obligations." That word hangs in the air as I slide into my driver's seat. Obligations. Always my obligations to them, never theirs to me. As I pull away, I see Serena's furious expression in my rearview mirror. And for the first time in years, I don't feel guilt. I feel something new, something solid and powerful taking its place. Determination. I drive aimlessly for an hour before returning to my apartment, my fingers still white-knuckled around the steering wheel. The invasion of my sanctuary plays on a loop in my mind. A horror film I can't shut off. I take random turns, circle the same blocks, my brain unable to process what just happened. Strangers. In my yard. My sister. Directing them like a general commanding troops on my own property. Inside my apartment, I drop my purse on the kitchen counter. The sound echoes in the silence. This place suddenly feels too small, the walls pressing in. I collapse onto the sofa, and that's when the dam breaks. Not tears. Not yet. Just a trembling that starts in my hands and spreads through my entire body. My phone buzzes incessantly. 3 missed calls from Serena, 2 from Mom, and a text from Dad that simply reads, "Call your mother." The demand in those 3 words. The assumption that I will comply. That I always comply. Instead, I open my laptop. My hands are still shaking. But there's something else building beneath the shock. Something hard and cold and focused. I typed Serena Bennett wedding into the search bar. My stomach lurches as the results flood the screen. Serena's Pinterest board is the first link, titled, "Beach House Dream Wedding." It was created 8 months ago. 8 months of planning without a single word to me. I click through to her Instagram and find a post from 3 weeks ago. It's a photo of her and Thomas toasting with champagne on my porch swing. The caption reads, "Final venue walkthrough at my amazing sister's beach house. Can't wait for our 150 guests to experience this paradise. #3-day celebration. #generous sister. #blessed bride." Comments from relatives are piled underneath. So wonderful of Rain to donate her beautiful home. That's what family is for. What a selfless sister you have. My temples throb with a dull ache. Donate? I never donated anything. A private message notification pops up from Thomas, Serena's fiancé. "Rain, I'm sorry about all this. I told Serena we should ask you properly. This wasn't my idea." I stare at the message, unsure how to respond, when my phone buzzes again. It's my mother. "Hello?" I answer, my voice tight. "There you are. What on earth were you thinking, driving off like that?" Serena is beside herself. "Mom," I interrupt, my voice dangerously calm. "Did you know about this? Did you know Serena was planning her entire wedding at my house without asking me?" There is a short, telling pause. "Well, of course I knew. We all did. It's not like you use that place much anyway, Rain. Serena needs this." While she speaks, I scroll through old text messages between my parents. One from Mom to Dad, sent 4 months ago, jumps out. Rain won't mind about the wedding. She never uses the house. Serena says it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. The words steal my breath. Are you even listening to me? Mom's sharp voice cuts through my shock. I have to go, I say, and hang up before she can reply. My hands hover over the keyboard. Then I type 3 words into the search bar. Property rights attorney. The first result is a law firm 20 minutes from my apartment. Marlene Chen, partner, real estate and property law. Her photo shows a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense expression. I dial the number before I can talk myself out of it. Chen and Associates. How may I help you? I need to speak with someone about an urgent property matter. I hear myself say. Today, if possible. 2 hours later, I'm sitting across from Marlene in her office. Sunlight streams through the windows, illuminating the framed diplomas on her walls. I've just finished explaining everything. The beach house, the wedding, the years of boundary violations. My voice cracks only once, when I describe finding the invitations with my address printed on them. Marlene leans back in her chair, her fingers steepled beneath her chin. Rain, let me be very clear. This is your property. Your name is on the deed, correct? I nod. Then legally, they have no right to use it without your explicit permission. What they are planning constitutes trespassing. She pauses, her expression softening. But I suspect you're not here just for the legal answer. You're here because you need someone to tell you that it's okay to say no to your family. Tears prick at my eyes. She's right. Here's what we are going to do, Marlene continues, pulling out a notepad. We're going to send a formal cease and desist letter to your sister and your parents. We're going to document every instance of unauthorized use of your property. And we're going to make it very clear that any attempt to proceed with this wedding will result in legal action, including calling the police for trespassing. But they're my family, I whisper. Family doesn't mean you have to set yourself on fire to keep them warm, Marlene says gently. You've been conditioned to believe that setting boundaries makes you selfish. It doesn't. It makes you healthy. I leave her office with a folder full of documents and a strange, tentative feeling in my chest. Hope, maybe. Or the beginning of self-respect. The next hour is a blur of digital archaeology. I uncover a family group chat I was never added to, filled with messages coordinating wedding details at Rain's place. I pull my property deed from my filing cabinet, smoothing the paper with trembling hands. Rain Elizabeth Bennett, the sole name listed, the mortgage statements, the utility bills, the insurance payments, every single one paid from my account, by me and me alone. The realization strikes me with startling clarity. This isn't about a house anymore. This is about respect, my respect for myself. That evening, I leave work early and drive to the beach house. I watch from across the street as Serena directs florists carrying massive arrangements inside. My house, my sanctuary. A cold resolve settles in my chest. I drive to a hardware store and purchase new high-security locks and a set of wireless security cameras. The locksmith arrives an hour after Serena and her crew finally leave for the day. By sunset, my house is secure again. Back at my apartment, I sit at my kitchen table with Marlene's folder spread before me. One document catches my eye. Alternative strategies for property protection. Number 3 reads, consider short-term rental to establish legal occupancy and prevent unauthorized use. A smile slowly spreads across my face. It's perfect. Not only will it prevent the wedding, but it will generate income and establish a clear legal precedent. I open my laptop and search for a corporate retreat rentals coastal Florida. Within an hour, I've contacted Sandpiper Beach Tour Company. Within 2 hours, we have a verbal agreement. Within 3, the contract is signed and the deposit is in my account. Only then do I compose a careful, concise email. To family. Subject: Beach house access. Please be advised that effective immediately. Anyone wishing to visit my property must contact me directly for permission and access arrangements. The locks have been changed for security purposes. Sincerely, Rain Bennett. I hit send. My phone immediately begins to explode with notifications. I mute it. The venomous replies still flash across the locked screen. Mom. Don't be ridiculous. Where is the spare key? Dad. Call your mother. She's upset. And then, a voicemail from Serena, her voice trembling with rage. How could you be so selfish? You're ruining everything I've planned for months. I send only one reply to the entire group. This is my property, purchased with my money. No one uses it without my permission. Then I silence all notifications. 2 days later, my mother marches into my workplace. She strides across the marble floors of coastal Florida Bank like a general leading a charge, wearing her formidable Sunday best. My coworker James whispers, "Is that your mom?" before sinking lower in his chair. I intercept her near the water cooler, my heart pounding. "Mother, this is my workplace, and apparently the only place I can reach you," she says, her voice loud enough for nearby colleagues to hear. "Your sister is devastated. The venue was perfect. Do you have any idea what you have done? The old rain would have crumbled, but the new rain feels a strange, cool calm. We can talk after work," I say, my voice low but firm. "Bayside Cafe at 5:30. We will talk now." 5:30. I repeat, holding her gaze. "Or not at all." She blinks, utterly shocked into silence. Without another word, she turns and leaves, her angry footsteps echoing in the quiet bank. When I return to my desk, James just whistles softly. That was impressive. I am as surprised as he is. That evening, I walk into the restaurant to find it's not just a talk, it's an intervention. Mom, Dad, Serena, and even my Aunt Linda, whose disapproval has been my kryptonite since childhood, are waiting for me. Serena launches her attack before I can even sit down. "My dream wedding is ruined," she announces, her eyes already glistening with well-practiced tears. "The only other venue we could find is half the size and nowhere near the beach." "Pumpkin," my father begins, his voice gentle but laced with disappointment. "After everything we've done for you. I drove you to piano lessons for 8 years, my mother adds, her voice trembling. "Piano lessons I begged to quit after 3 months," I say quietly, looking at each of them in turn. "Rain," Aunt Linda leans forward, delivering the final blow. "In this family, we support each other. Your grandfather would be ashamed of this selfishness." The mention of Grandpa Joe is their nuclear option. The table falls silent, waiting for my surrender. I take a slow, deep breath. "Name one time," I say, looking directly at Serena, "that you asked permission before using my house." "Just one." Her mouth opens, then closes. She has no answer. "Name one weekend." I continue, turning to my parents. "When you left the house exactly as you found it. Or one visit where you didn't treat it like the family vacation home." The silence stretches, thick and uncomfortable. "You can't," I state, my voice gaining strength. "Because it never happened." My mother recovers first. "This vindictive behavior is unacceptable. It's done anyway." I interrupt, my voice clear and final. I slide a folder across the table toward them. "The house is rented. I signed a contract with Sandpiper Beach Tour Company 3 days ago. They have exclusive use of the property for the next 3 weekends, including your wedding date." Serena's tears vanish instantly, replaced by a look of pure disbelief. "You what?" "It's a legally binding rental agreement," I say, tapping the folder. "The deposit has been paid. The house is no longer available." I watch their faces, the shock, the confusion, the dawning, furious realization that for the first time in my life, I have built a boundary they cannot cross. And in that moment, I feel nothing but relief. The Saturday of Serena's supposed wedding arrives with a sky of brilliant, unapologetic blue. I am parked a block away from my beach house, a thermos of coffee beside me and a pair of binoculars in my lap. Just as I suspected, the intervention was nothing more than a failed negotiation tactic. My family is proceeding as if our conversation never happened. They believe that if they simply show up and occupy the space, I will crumble under the pressure of public shame and family obligation. They have always believed this. Today, they will learn they are wrong. Through the magnified lenses, the scene unfolds exactly as I anticipated. Serena stands in the center of my backyard, clipboard in hand, directing the chaos like a seasoned film director. The arch needs to be centered perfectly with the ocean view. She calls to 2 men struggling with a heavy white wooden structure. And those chairs should form a gentle curve, not straight rows. This isn't a high school graduation, people. My mother is on her knees by the garden beds I painstakingly planted with sea lavender. She's arranging extra bouquets of white roses and baby's breath in the stone planters, humming a little tune to herself. My father follows a frantic-looking caterer, nodding sagely at everything the man says while occasionally checking his watch. They are a well-oiled machine of entitlement, operating with the serene confidence of people who have never once been told no. I check my own watch. It's 9:57 a.m. 3 minutes to go. The wedding planner, Vanessa, scurries over to Serena, pointing at the sky. A flock of pelicans flies overhead in perfect formation. "It's a sign," Vanessa exclaims, loud enough for me to imagine her voice. A perfect day for a perfect wedding. I almost feel a pang of pity for her. She's just a pawn in my family's psychodrama. At precisely 10 a.m., a gleaming white van pulls into my driveway. The logo on the side is unmistakable. Sandpiper Beach Tour Company. 2 more branded SUVs pull in right behind it. 7 uniformed employees emerge, each carrying clipboards, iPads, and professional-looking equipment cases. They move with a quiet, coordinated efficiency that stands in stark contrast to the frantic wedding preparations. Through my binoculars, I can see the exact moment the first ripple of confusion spreads across my family's faces. The tour manager, a tall, impeccably dressed woman with silver hair pulled into a severe bun, strides directly toward Serena. Her expression is polite, professional, and utterly immovable. I watch as she extends a hand, which Serena ignores. Serena's spine stiffens. Her head tilts in that particular way it does when something dares to defy her carefully constructed plans. The tour manager says something, and Serena shakes her head dismissively, gesturing vaguely toward the street as if shooing away a stray dog. This is my cue. I start my car, but don't drive closer. Not yet. My phone buzzes with a pre-arranged text from the tour manager. "M's all right. We have made contact. Property owner is uncooperative." Presenting the contract as instructed, I imagine the scene with delicious clarity. M's all right, unruffled. Presenting Serena with the legally binding, multi-page document. The one with my signature, clearly dated 3 weeks ago. The one detailing the reservation for a high-end corporate marine biology retreat starting this afternoon. The one guaranteeing exclusive use of the property for the entire weekend. My phone erupts. It's a symphony of panic. A call from Mom. A call from Dad. Mom again. Serena. I'll let them all go to voicemail, a small smile playing on my lips. This moment has been carefully choreographed, and I refuse to be dragged onto their chaotic stage. Through the binoculars, I watch as 3 more cars, filled with early arriving wedding guests in pastel dresses and summer suits, pull into the already crowded driveway. My father, his face now a mask of strained panic, rushes to intercept them. He waves his hands frantically, trying to explain the inexplicable. One older woman, who I recognize as my mother's cousin, puts her hand to her mouth in theatrical shock. The wedding planner is now pacing back and forth on my porch, yelling into her phone. When Serena finally calls for the 6th time, I decide the performance has reached its crescendo. I answer. "What did?" Her voice crackles with a fury so pure it's almost impressive. "Hello to you too, Serena." I reply, my voice remarkably steady and calm. "There are people here. They're saying they have a contract for a tour group at your house." "My house?" I correct her gently. "That's right. My wedding is tomorrow," she shrieks, the sound distorted by the phone speaker. "You have to tell these people to leave." "I'm afraid I can't do that, Serena," I say, the words flowing as easily as if I'd been rehearsing them for years. Which, in a way, I have. I signed a legally binding contract. The house is rented. But this is your house." She sputters, her logic failing her. "You can just unrent it. Tell them to go away." "You never asked me, Serena," I say, keeping my tone even and devoid of emotion. "I bought this house with my money. I pay the mortgage with my money. I maintain it with my money. And I rented it out, with my signature, for a significant profit. This is what happens when you treat a person's home like a public park. This is what happens when you assume, instead of asking. You have to fix this." Panic has now completely overtaken her rage. "Brain, please. Call them off. My guests are arriving." Thomas's parents are on their way. The house is not available, I say, each word a carefully placed stone in the wall I am building around myself. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not for the rest of the weekend. Goodbye, Serena. I end the call and watch the beautiful, predictable chaos unfold. Mom is now on her phone, frantically scribbling on a notepad, probably calling every hotel and event space within a 50-mile radius. Dad is trying to shepherd confused and gossiping guests back to their cars. Serena is in a heated, arm-waving argument with Vanessa, the wedding planner, who looks as though she's about to have a full-blown meltdown. Several of the tour company employees are calmly setting up a registration table on my front porch, completely ignoring the drama swirling around them. An hour later, my phone pings with a notification. It's a text from Thomas. His voice, even in text, sounds different, measured, respectful. Rain, I want you to know I always felt this was wrong. My parents have agreed to host in their backyard. It won't be the beach, but we'll make it work. I understand why you did this. A moment later, another text arrives. This one from my Aunt Gloria, the quiet one who never takes sides. Always thought it was strange they'd just take over your house like that. Good for you for standing your ground. Takes courage. I watch as the Sandpiper tour staff begin their own setup. They place tasteful beach chairs in neat rows facing the water. They erect small, elegant placards with information about local marine life. It is organized, respectful, and professional. It is everything my family is not. I finally put the car in drive and pull away, leaving my property to be used exactly as I intended, with permission, with a contract, with respect. For the first time in years, something heavy and suffocating unfurls in my chest, and I realize what it is. It's the feeling of freedom, and it is glorious. 3 days later, my doorbell rings. Through the peephole, I see my parents standing shoulder to shoulder, their postures rigid with indignation. Dad's jaw is set in that stubborn way I know too well. Mom's lips are pressed into a thin, furious line. I take a deep breath, tuck the final receipt into a neatly labeled folder, and open the door. Rain Elizabeth Bennett. My mother begins, her voice wavering between fury and unshed tears. How could you humiliate your sister? Humiliate this family, in front of everyone. My father stands slightly behind her, his disappointment radiating like heat from asphalt. After everything we've sacrificed for you, this is how you repay us? By destroying Serena's special day? I simply step back, gesturing toward my living room. Would you like to come in? The question hangs in the air. My voice is steady, calm, almost unnaturally so. Their momentary hesitation reveals their surprise. They exchange a quick glance, confusion flickering across both their faces. They expected tears, shouting, or defensive anger, my usual pattern. They expected me to crumble, to apologize, to fold like I always have. Instead, I lead them to the couch, where 2 glasses of water wait on coasters. I have been preparing for this visit for 72 hours. You need to make this right. My mother continues, her voice gaining strength as she settles onto the edge of the sofa, her back ramrod straight. A public apology, at minimum. And you'll need to compensate Serena for the emotional distress and the cost of the last-minute venue change. Thomas's parents' backyard was barely adequate. Do you know how embarrassing it was to explain to 200 guests? 150. I correct quietly. The invitation said 150. She blinks, thrown off her rhythm. My father leans forward, adopting the reasonable tone he uses to close business deals. Sweetheart, everyone makes mistakes. But if you don't make amends, I'm afraid you'll find yourself cut off from this family. It's a threat. He delivers it with the confidence of a man who's never had his bluff called. I've prepared something I'd like you to see. I interrupt calmly, sliding the thick blue folder across the coffee table. The sound of it hitting the glass seems unnaturally loud in the silence. My mother glances at it dismissively, her hand waving as if shooing away a fly. What is this supposed to be? More legal nonsense. Documentation. I answer, opening it myself. My hands don't shake, not even a tremor. 5 years of disrespect and boundary violations at my beach house. I've organized it chronologically for you. Would you like to start with year 1? Or should we jump straight to the greatest hits? Their expressions shift from righteous anger to wary confusion as I begin laying out the evidence. I don't raise my voice. I don't need to. The photographs speak for themselves. Each one placed deliberately on the coffee table like cards in a hand of poker. I'm finally ready to play. The deep red wine stains on my grandmother's heirloom quilt. I watch my mother's face as she recognizes it. The quilt she helped me restore when I first bought the house. Your New Year's party, I say. 17 empty wine bottles left on my kitchen counter. I found cigarette butts in the plant pots on the deck. Next photo. Burn marks melted into my outdoor furniture. Cousin Derek's birthday celebration. The one you assured me would be just family. There were 37 people there. I wasn't one of them. My father shifts uncomfortably, his earlier confidence beginning to crack. And this. I pull out a photo of muddy paw prints tracked through every room of my house. Brown streaks across my white bedroom carpet. Serena's friend's dog, the one that destroyed my hallway rug. When I mentioned it, you told me I was being uptight about a little dirt. The silence in the room is deafening. I have been silent for too long. I say, my voice steady despite the pounding in my chest. Every time I asked for simple respect, you dismissed my feelings. Every boundary I tried to set, you steamrolled right over it. That's just normal wear and tear from family use. My father begins, shifting uncomfortably. This isn't normal, I counter, pulling out a stapled stack of receipts. These are the repair costs for that wear and tear, over $5,000. Notice the signature on every invoice? It's mine. I have never once asked any of you for a single dime. My mother's face flushes a deep red. We're family. We shouldn't need formal invitations or family respects each other, I say, cutting her off with a gentleness that surprises even me. The house is mine. I slide the property deed, the mortgage statement, and the insurance policy across the table, all bearing only my name. You had no right to offer it to Serena. You had no right to plan a wedding there. You had no right to give out keys. Their eyes widen as I pull out my phone and play the security camera footage from 3 months ago. The clip shows my mother leading 6 strangers, people I have never met, on a tour through my master bedroom, opening my closet and dresser drawers, showing off our family's lovely beach house. This is my private property, not a family timeshare, I say, placing Serena's ostentatious wedding invitation on top of the pile of photos. And this was all planned without my knowledge or consent. My mother's hands tremble slightly as she picks up the invitation. For the first time, I see a crack in her armor of self-righteousness. I see genuine uncertainty in her eyes. If you want any relationship with me going forward, I state, pulling out a final, single sheet of paper. These are my terms. No one visits my properties without my explicit, confirmed permission. All copies of my keys must be returned immediately, and we will no longer operate on assumptions. My father's face darkens. You can't dictate terms to your own parents. I can, and I am, I say, meeting his gaze without flinching. These are not requests. They are requirements for having me in your life. The silence stretches between us, thick with the weight of years of unspoken resentment. My mother stares at the evidence, the physical manifestation of their casual disregard. I never saw it from your perspective. She finally whispers, something genuine breaking through her defensive shell. My father just rubs his face, suddenly looking tired and much older. He reaches into his pocket, his shoulders slumping in defeat, and places a key on the table. My mother hesitates for a long moment before adding hers beside it. Serena has one too, she admits quietly. I nod. I'll get it from her. As they prepare to leave, my mother pauses at the door. Will you come to Sunday dinner next week? It's an olive branch, offered tentatively. The old me would have agreed instantly, desperate for reconciliation. The new me meets her eyes steadily. I'll check my schedule and let you know by Thursday if I'm available. A new understanding passes between us. She nods once, accepting this small but seismic shift in our dynamic. After they leave, I stand in my quiet apartment, my heart racing, not with anxiety, but with an unfamiliar lightness. I pick up the keys they left behind, symbols of a boundary finally, painfully, respected. The battle isn't over, but in this moment, I've reclaimed something essential. Myself. The following weeks are not easy. There are tense phone calls and uncomfortable silences. There's a Sunday dinner I attend where no one quite knows what to say. Serena's wedding happens at Thomas's parents' house, and I am not invited. A choice I accept with surprising peace. But slowly, incrementally, something shifts. My mother starts asking before visiting. My father stops making assumptions. And I start to understand that love and respect are not opposing forces. They're inseparable. 6 months later, I'm sitting on my porch swing, a mug of coffee warming my hands. The beach house feels truly mine for the first time. The wind chimes I installed myself tinkle softly in the ocean breeze. I chose them. I hung them. Nobody asked to borrow my ladder or rearrange my porch furniture while I was gone. A text from James flashes on my phone. Congrats again on the promotion. The commercial loan division is lucky to have you. I smile. That promotion came after I finally spoke up in a meeting, presenting my own restructuring plan instead of watching my supervisor take credit for my work. 6 months ago, I would have stayed silent. 6 months ago, I didn't know my own voice could be this strong. My relationship with my family is evolving. My parents call before visiting now. They ask, rather than announce. Serena and I had lunch last week. She brought my spare key without being asked. Her apology wasn't perfect, but it was real. Later that afternoon, my phone buzzes again. It's Serena. Hey, was thinking of driving down to the coast next Saturday. Would you be free for me to stop by for an hour or so? I read the message twice. The request. The respect implicit in asking. I type back. That sounds nice. Come around 2 p.m. The sun begins to set over the water, painting everything gold. I breathe in the salt air. My porch swing creaks gently, and for the first time in my life, I am completely at home in my own skin. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is set a boundary. If this story moved you, please like and subscribe. And if you have your own boundary setting story, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Thank you for listening.